This is Nancy Lindholm, President and CEO of the West Ventura County Business Alliance. I will be making this presentation on behalf of the Alliance and the Ventura County Coastal Association of Realtors. This is our opposition to local rent control and related measures and recommendations for alternative solutions for the City Council's consideration. Rent control does not equal affordability. Rent control does not create any new affordable rental housing units. It also does not ensure access to affordable rental housing for low income, very low income, or extremely low income renters. In fact, it does the opposite by preventing those in the greatest need from accessing the most affordable existing rental housing. Rent control does not consider the income of existing renters or new renters needing housing. As a result, middle and high income renters are able to monopolize existing affordable rental housing units, even though they are financially able to pay full market rate rents in newer rental buildings with more amenities. A significant number of new rental housing units are being built in Oxnard, including Wagon Wheel, Johnson Road Apartments, Dansk 2 Apartments, Edding Road Apartments, Cypress Place at Garden City, Las Cortez, G Street Apartments, Portofino Place, Hain Apartments, and Lockwood Senior Apartments. None of these newly built buildings will be subject to Assembly Bill 1482 for at least 15 years, or local rent control due to Costa-Hawkins. However, they will provide much needed alternative rental housing for those renters that can afford these new units. As such, Oxnard should be encouraging renters who have the financial means to relocate to these newer units, not discouraging them with rent control, to free up the more affordable older units for those renters that are low, very low, and extremely low income. Further, rent control does not consider family size for existing affordable housing units. Thus, an existing single renter can reside for decades in a 2, 3, or 4-bedroom rental unit, preventing other renters with families who are in need of such units from renting them. Ultimately, rent control rewards a small number of existing renters at the expense of all other renters, including renters with much greater financial needs and family size needs for affordable rental housing. There are numerous tenant protections not fully implemented. At the state level, we have protections, the Tenant Protection Act of 2019. Renters in Oxnard and throughout California are covered by the Tenant Protection Act of 2019, which was Assembly Bill 1482. These protections were adopted after extensive negotiations with all sides, including renter advocates. They will remain in effect until January 1st, 2030, which is more than 8 years from now. This state law went into effect on January 1st, 2020, and limits annual rent increases, establishes just cause eviction requirements, and requires relocation fees for no-fault tenancy terminations. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and statewide eviction moratorium for non-payment of rent, Assembly Bill 832 and its predecessors, Assembly Bill 1482 is only now becoming fully effective. At this time, it's too early to assess the full impact of this comprehensive state law and any evidence to show that it is insufficient for the majority of renters or that additional enforcement mechanisms are needed. Assembly Bill 1482 must be allowed to go into full effect for a reasonable period of time before the City of Oxnard can determine what, if any, additional local ordinances are needed. Local tenant protections, Oxnard's Safe Home, Safe Families, Repeat Offender Program, and health and safety ordinances. Oxnard's Safe Home, Safe Families Repeat Offender Program was specifically designed to address rental housing owners that repeatedly violate health and safety codes by providing substandard housing. Similar to the Assembly Bill 1482, this new program has not been fully implemented due to COVID-19 and the inability of code enforcement to enter residences. Now, with widely available COVID-19 vaccinations and the repeal of stay-at-home orders, we encourage the city to fully utilize this program to address existing substandard housing problems. And fair housing laws. Federal and state fair housing laws have existed for decades that protect renters against discrimination in housing. However, many renters are not aware of their rights under these laws. State-level tenant financial resources. California COVID-19 Rent Relief Program. The California COVID-19 Rent Relief Program provides funds for 100% of back rent owed, as well as up to 3 months of prospective rent. It also provides funds for utilities. In addition, applying for this program can provide renters with an affirmative defense to evictions based on non-payment of rent. Solutions. Education. There are already numerous renter protection laws in existence, and many have been fully implemented. They have not been fully implemented due to COVID-19. Education and outreach is vital. The city should undertake a broad-based education and marketing campaign for the entire community, including renters, rental housing providers, businesses, and homeowners on all renter protection laws and the California COVID-19 Rent Relief Program. City staff can provide webinars to the community. The city's website can list information regarding the various renter protection laws and local legal aid societies. The city can include promotional materials and utility billing mailers, and the city could establish a new 1-800 phone number to provide more confidentiality to anonymously report complaints, as well as establish an email account as an additional method of reporting complaints. Local level tenant financial resources. The city should establish an emergency rental voucher program to provide targeted funding to low, very low, and extremely low income renters, as well as to targeted populations such as farm workers, seniors, and the disabled. This would be a far better use of limited city resources versus any type of right to counsel program, which would not address the root problem that renters are being evicted in most instances for failure to pay their rent. Voluntary rental housing mediation program. A voluntary mediation program enables the resolutions of disputes and misunderstandings between renters and rental housing providers. The strength of such a program is that it is voluntary and completely separate from the court system and law enforcement. As a result, more renters will feel comfortable engaging in such discussions. Also, rental housing providers will be encouraged to engage in such discussions as it will avoid expensive legal costs. Mediations can be conducted by a mixture of city staff and trained volunteers from the community. It would also allow for individualized and creative solutions to problems, including payment plans, trading of work or services, voluntary relocation, etc. Such a program could be a valuable resource to all Oxnard renters, including those renters in single-family rental homes new apartment buildings, and accessory dwelling units. Thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts on this matter, and I thank the council's consideration.